gets the Aaron's lucky dog, so he will get a lap back. Currently, we have 21 on the lead lap. Welcome back. Green flag back in the air for the Kroger 250. It's Kevin Harvick on the inside, Johnny Sauter on the outside, racing down the backstretch.
He's proven to be the best two trucks all day. 3 wide for about 5th.
Eichler made it work once, but I don't know if it's going to work again, Phil.
How about Johnny in the middle?
Getting shoved out of the groove.
How about Ricky Carmichael in number 4 making a move up toward the front?
Here comes Todd Bodine, the Germain Toyota.
Man, it's just tight quarters.
How far back is Eichler going to fall on this restart? He restarted this race in 4th.
He still hasn't found him a hole yet. All the way back to 8th. Tried to squeeze in front of Taylor Malsom, his teammate. Taylor looks like he's not having any of it. Taylor had his nose in there, left it in there, and it's going to take that spot.
Wow. Here comes Timothy Peters trying to work his way back up towards the front.
Little contact once again. And on the inside, Taylor Malsom. On the outside, that 18 of Brian Eichler. They race down the front stretch.
What about Kyle Busch's first experience at this? Okay, guys, let's work this out.
Together.
Yeah.
Let's work it out.
That's just so that takes so much talent to do what Taylor Malsom. You see him right on the edge of that curb and then right on the fender of his teammate too.
Now if he hits that curb right now, it's going to knock him up into the 18 of Brian Eichler. May cause them both trouble.
Well, he makes the pass. Taylor Malsom now in front of Brian Eichler, right?
And Rick, I just wanted to add those two trucks, virtually identical pieces of equipment. You know, when Kyle Busch Motorsports got ready to get underway this year, they purchased the assets of Express Motorsports. And these chassis that are running together are number 133 and 134. They were built on the exact same jig, and they're pretty much set up identically this weekend too. And you can pretty much tell the way they're rolling around the racetrack. Two very, very equal pieces of equipment.
Check out this battle for the lead, Phil. Johnny Sauter's been able to keep the heat on Kevin Harvick. You remember before one of our cautions a couple of runs ago, Sauter had got his way around Kevin Harvick. So this is a great battle for the lead.
Yeah, and at that time, that was a battle for second. That's after Kevin had already let Ron Hornaday get by on a restart to lead the race.
Johnny Sauter currently 7th in the points standings.
You know what I love? We just passed lap 100, man, and this race has had all kinds of interesting twists and turns, and the strategy's still hanging over us. Will these guys, have they made their last trip to pit road, or are we going to see more pit stops?
We think they have enough fuel because most of them pitted on lap number 75. I think it takes about, from what the crew chiefs tell me, about 40 laps of caution if you pit around lap 70 or 75. More than likely we'll probably see that. We know they have enough fuel, but do they have enough tires? That's the question.
We've had just over 21 laps of caution up to this point. Ray.
Well, guys, every crew chief I've talked to on my end says absolutely we're coming back in for tires. Not going to be able to make the distance. They saw quite a bit of wear on these Goodyears that they took off on that first round of pit stops. So each and every person I've asked said yes, they'll be back down pit road one more time. Let's check in with the front of the field and Adam.
And Butch Hilton is the crew chief for Kevin Harvick, and he has told Harvick under caution, let's save fuel just in case there would be a scenario where we wouldn't pit again. But I got to tell you, Kevin, those rear tires were eaten up pretty bad. We do anticipate coming back down pit road, and I would guess that would be somewhere north of lap 150. We'll have to wait and see.
Certainly want to get it done before lap 200, wouldn't you, Phil? You wouldn't want to have more than, you need at least 50 laps to establish where you're going. And I talk about how interesting this race has been. Kevin Harvick has dominated it up front, but man, Ron Hornaday, he started in 31st, made his way to the top 10, went all the way to the back. Now he's sitting there running in 3rd spot. And that's the story of many of these trucks in the field. They've been all over the place. The only constant has been Johnny Sauter and Kevin Harvick at the front.
Kevin Harvick runs number 1. Then it's Johnny Sauter, Ron Hornaday, Matt Crafton, Mike Skinner. They're your top 5. Johnny Benson, Eric Almirola, Ricky Carmichael, Todd Bodine, and Taylor Malsom are your top 10. Just outside the top 10, David Starr, former winner at this racetrack.
What a good run early on for Ricky Carmichael. He had his best career finish at Atlanta a couple of weeks ago of 6th. And here he comes to a racetrack that's arguably, as we talked about with Narain Karthikeyan, the most difficult racetrack to run for somebody that's not used to doing this, and Ricky's got a good solid top 10 going.
Here comes the 30 of Todd Bodine. Again, Todd Bodine and Ron Hornaday. between the two of them have 62 wins in the Camping World Truck Series. Neither has been to victory lane. Lance Fenton gets sideways, and the 76 comes right in and T-bones him. Brian Johnson Jr. in the 76 gets to the inside driver's side door of that 95. And so our 5th caution of the day has come out.
That's pretty significant contact right there.
That was it. I couldn't turn.
I think he's explaining that he locked his tires up and couldn't turn, maybe. I think I heard him say that, explaining to his crew why he ran into the side of Lance Fenton.
Remember, this is the same team that Dennis Setzer finished 3rd for at Daytona this year. Johnny Benson had a top 10 finish in that 95 truck at Daytona. Danny Gill started his team this year. Tough break for him.
Take another look at this. The 60 of Narain. Karthikeyan comes in, gets into the back of that 95.
Oh, wow.
You know, Brian more than likely had already committed to the corner. He'd already committed. He drove in the corner as hard as he was normally going to do it, and then all of a sudden the 95 truck is right there in front of him. You saw just a glimpse of him coming in the corner.
Wow.
Man, tough break.
He had the 60 on the outside of him. There was really, like you had mentioned, Michael, he's got the brakes locked up. There's nowhere he can go.
Well, it's just it's tough to learn what you're doing on these racetracks, trying to figure. If he had went up high, he would have gotten the marbles, and the thing certainly wouldn't have stopped. So I'm sure Brian will look at that and try to figure out what he could have done differently, but pretty hard contact to the side of Fenton's truck. We see Lance in there
moving around some.
Yeah, and the good sign, he's put the window net down. That's the signal to the emergency crew that, hey, I'm okay. I can operate, you know, at least my hands, arms, and everything. I can get the window net down.
There's your guy.
My guy. He's got him a lucky dog from Aaron's. Chris Eggleston's back on the lead lap. He's been, you know, he got off to a terrible start on his birthday, got spun out on the first lap, got a lap down, but now he finds himself running competitive times. Been watching him battling back for the 20th spot with Max Pappas and Brett Butler. They've been running right there in line, and now he's going to be able to see if he can get up through the field for some positions.
Let's take a look at this real time.
Look at Brett
See
Butler.
Lance get turned around, and here, wow, Brian comes in there and makes hard contact. Jennifer Joe Cobb does a nice job getting by on the inside. You see Lance Fenton out of the car, or truck, I'm sorry.
So those guys were in a tight battle, all of them globbed together there, and it's just probably didn't have as good a vision down in the corner as he hoped, and darn, there wasn't a truck sitting there when he got there.
So they'll clean up the accident that took place. That's our 5th caution of the race, this time including the 95 and the 76. When you want to take a spot, sometimes you got to move someone out of the way. Great crowd on hand, great weather for the fans to come out and enjoy short track racing for the Camping World Truck Series. The Kroger 250 will continue on speed after these messages.
The head, you pick your drivers and they go head to each other?
I believe so. The biggest racing fan you can be with Verizon Championship Racing at the track and on your phone. From nationwide and IndyCar driver meet and greets to exclusive peeks inside the Penske garage right on your VCast phone. We're your hard card to racing nirvana, only from the network with the most 3G coverage, Verizon.
Getting ready for a restart here. Johnny Sauter's going to get another shot at Kevin Harvick. Not quite halfway yet. 5 laps to go till halfway.
Kevin Harvick, Johnny Sauter, Ron Hornaday, Matt Crafton, Mike Skinner, your top 5.
It's not halfway yet, and I'm tired. These guys have been all over the place today.
Ray Dunlap.
Just to let you guys know, we may have seen the last pit stop for Timothy Peters. He just came to the pits while we were under caution there. Remember, back at lap 74, they had trouble and got buried deep in the field. He has enough fuel to go the distance. He's going to try to nurse those tires. I don't expect a 17 back down pit road this afternoon.
I kind of like that, Phil. He had lost all his track position. Let's take a chance. Let's mix it up.
Green flag back in the air.
And then he hopes all those guys in front of him come back to pit road for the 2nd time.
Great restart by Ron Hornaday, trying to stay on the bumper of that number 2 and not able to do so as they get through 1 and 2, and that gives Johnny Sauter a clean shot now at Kevin Harvick.
Man, Hornaday just doesn't seem to have the truck. He can't even make a good restart. You know, you would think down on the inside of Sauter, he'd be able to snatch that spot away from him, but he not only couldn't do that, he's having trouble holding off Matt Crafton on the outside. That's un-Ron Hornaday like. He's usually on it for a lap or two and gains positions when they start.
This whole season has been un-Ron Hornaday like. We talked about how this is the fewest points he's ever gotten, and a little contact there from JB and Matt Crafton. Fewest points that he's ever gotten in the first 2 races.
Eric Almirola, the 51. Now Johnny Benson a little squirrely, the 30 of Todd Bodine just behind him. Then it's David Starr in that 81 back there.
Looked like the 51 stopped a little.